going on, everybody? How's it going? This is going to be a fun one for me anyways. I don't know. We'll see how fun it is. This could be, you guys could be witnessing the last flight of the Seymour Duncan Invader in any guitar that I own. But we'll see. Right now, this is the last attempt I am making at enjoying the Seymour Duncan Invader. I'm going to do everything I can to enjoy it. How's it going, Pedro? How's it going, anybody else that happens to be jumping in? I'm hanging out today. My name is Ty. Welcome to the Amp Sim Show. And I have this here Fender American, but it's the American, I think it was called the American Standard Series. No, not the American Standard Series. It was a very cheap line of American-made Strats and Telecasters that came out for a short period of time. I don't know if they're still making them or not. And in any event, this has the big fat headstock on it. And I got this guitar with no guts, no pickguard, no nothing. Just a trem, a body, a neck, and 4 tuners. There's only four on it from what I remember. And I've had it in multiple different alignments, formats, layouts, whatever you want to call it. This is like, I call this the Tom Delonge. I'm a big fan. I used to be a big fan of Blink-182, but man, before Tom crawled way up his own ass, man, that guy is something else now. That guy really will let stuff go to his head a little bit, I think. Anyways, we're hanging out today. We're going to be using a bunch of different plugins. If you're in the chat, say hi. You might win something. You might know. You might not. Who knows? If there's a plugin that you think I should use for punk rock or anything like along those lines, let me know. All right. Here's the lineup for today. If there's something you do want me to add, let me know. If you like it just as is, just, you know what, let's just have some fun. We've got the La Boga Mr. Hector suite. Now, why am I using this? Also, not drinking a Coke today. I'm drinking a Sober Carpenter Raspberry Sour. Wonderful. So delicious. I'm not sure if you can get Sober Carpenter where you guys are at, but if you can, get it. Especially if you are I'm not in any kind of like reformed alcoholic. I quit drinking when I was in my early 30s just because I had spent a lot of time doing it, and I was kind of done with it. And ever since then, I still really miss the taste of beer and the taste of like a hard cider. You know what I mean? And occasionally I go with this company, Sober Carpenter. They have some amazing choices. So if you're out there are choices for you. Anyways, we've got this. We've got the Solidus VS8100 based on the amp that I personally used for a really long time playing in punk rock bands. And we've got the MRH 159, the BST 100 V2. We've got the Nolly X, which I actually do like more than the original Nolly. We've got the Amp Suite Rev F that is the best take on an amp that was extraordinarily important to both punk and rock, and punk rock. So yeah, this is what we're chilling with today. We've got a chorus pedal. We've got a few pedals loaded up here just for shits and giggles. We'll see what happens, what gets used, what does not. And I'm just going to kind of go Messa Recto. Nice to see you. And we're just going to go over what Big Red here has to offer. Really? There's no way this battery is dying already. There's no way. Seriously? How could the tuner battery be dying when I'm using the battery that came with it? The D'Addario branded, and don't call it D'Addario, it's D'Addario, as confirmed by several longtime endorsers. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's make sure that's a pretty loud DI volume. All right, got a good DI going here. Now, for those of you unaware, the Invader is a beefy boy. Let's have a look at this here Invader. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, big old giant, big old bolts hanging out the top. It's such a fun looking pickup, but when you look at it, you think metal, immediately metal. And if you look it up, you'll see that a lot of metal bands have used it. Yes, absolutely. But in my opinion, the strength and the greatest strength of the Invader is rock, is any kind of rock. And it was originally designed to be a rock pickup because it came out in, I think, 1981, before death metal existed. Sure, there was some heavy stuff going on in 1981, but really, 1981 was kind of before most of the stuff that we now know as heavy. Sure, there was Sabbath happening at that time, and there was some other, groovier, heavier stuff. I'm not sure. When did Venom get started? Was Venom basically the heaviest thing on Earth at that point? I don't know. But it was a few years prior to the thrash movement. It was definitely a few years prior to death metal. And the pickup really soars for all things distortion. But when it comes to using it for metal, or using it for anything, it is very, 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 very picky on the height you're using, and also the way you're going to set up an amp with this pickup. A lot of pickups for me, I find I like to make a pickup work with my standard settings, but I realize that this is a pickup that does not want anything to do with my standard settings on anything. You really have to work around the pickup. It is what it is. Very bold, lots of punchy, giant low end, a mid-range that is very unique and can get very irritating very quickly if not controlled, and a top end that is quite dark and does tend to need some help to cut through. So, all that being said, let's get started on a few different tones, shall we? Yeah, Tom DeLonge used the Invader for a long time. So does Karl Sanders. And I may or may not have the Carnivore IR pack today to check out. I'm going to check my email right now. As I know, Christian Coleman Slater got back to me. Hold on, guys. No, I don't have the pack yet. But that's going to be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to this pack and singing the praises of a very good human being in Christian Coleman Slater. All right, so let's get started today. Let's get started with an amp I'm super familiar with. This is the Solidus VS8100, and in the cab is already loaded with my very favorite impulse response. I'm not even needing to use my own IR. I'm going to use my old settings that I used with this particular amp back in the day. So I use the normal channel in crunch mode and occasionally through chorus pedal out front. Let's see where we're at. That's sounding pretty beastly so far. Pretty nice. Nice and thick. And it's still super beefy, and I also want to be careful. That's right, I can't use that control over here. I thought it worked. Oops. Volume control also not working over here. I'm so dumb today. All right, let's put a little tiny bit of chorus through there as well. Nice and very solid. So that's what we're looking for so far, is something along those lines. Let's go to the other channel, however, and see if we can figure out something maybe a little bit beefier. We've already got that side set up, so So yeah, it's sounding pretty thick so far. I'm getting it to sound kind of like I want it to sound here. I don't need quite that much distortion. Now, what I would rather do is go over here and just give this side a little bit of a boost with just the yellow drive here. Let's see what we got. That's much better. And if you've never used this plugin before, guys, you really, really got to get to it. It's the Solidus VS8100 from Audiority, and it's a lot of fun. It's got the sword built right into it. So if you're a fan of our free sword plugin that you can find right here, that's where it came from, right from here. My love for this in the development of this plugin, I fell in love with this component and really said, you know what, Luca, someday we got to do a freeware plugin based on this. And we put that on the back burner and under the mat for a while, and then pow, eventually we got to it, and it's pretty glorious. I really enjoy it anyhow. I don't really care quite as much for Dr. Drive here because I don't really like the Precision Drive very much in its analog form. So I just don't even bother. I don't bother with it, but you can if you'd like. I'm using the yellow drive, the old school yellow drive from Brainworks and Plugin Alliance. And that's sounding way better. Let's get the chat a little bit stoked up here, folks. This is sounding much, much better. Now, my buddy basically told me to get the Invader sounding as good as you're going to get it sounding, you need to be able to back it off a lot. And he said like 5-6 millimeters back, way back, as far back as you can get it. And I literally have it as literally as far back as I can get it. I'm noticing it can use maybe a little height on the treble side, just so I can get a tiny bit more grit out of those high notes. And there we have it. I think this is finally going to stick the way it is. I think today I shot myself in the foot. I said it yesterday. There aren't a lot of people that want to watch streams on punk rock and rock. Everybody wants to see modern metal, modern metal, modern metal, modern metal. Just show me gent, modern metal. And that's not what this channel is about. This channel is about just focusing on something for everybody. So even if down the road 15, 20 people, 50 people watch this particular stream way down the road and say, geez, I pulled something or I ended up getting something rad out of this stream, that's awesome. And drop us a line in the comments if you watch this a year from now and pick up some useful tools or some useful methods for getting a really good sound with either the Invader here or some of the plugins we've got in the chain today. I'm really not too concerned. I really want to know how Tom DeLonge got it to sound so present. You know what I mean? It's hard to explain what I mean, but so twangy. You know what I mean? So twangy he got it to sound on Dumpweed, for example. We're going to listen to that for 1 sec. Let's do that. Let's listen to the tone that I'm talking about instead of just talking about it. Let's listen to Dumpweed. In my opinion, it's the best Blink-182 guitar tone you're going to find is on this album. Here's the song. That is so chimey and bright sounding for an Invader. This part here. Wow. It sounds terrific. Here it sounds like an Invader. But it sounds like he's got something, there's something helping. There's something very, very, very bright going on that I'm not sure how he's getting it. It's a dark pickup. And Some might think, if you're the uneducated person might think, well, just pull the pickup closer. Wouldn't that make it louder and brighter? No. And then in the case of the Invader, the closer you get it to the strings, the more likely you are to have something like wolf notes, or where you're dragging the strings towards the pickup and creating buzz and all this other stuff. It's very, very strong pickup. And it really does. It's very necessary to keep it backed way off. Look how far I have it backed off. For those of you that actually know pickup height, look how far I have it backed off. I don't know if you can see it or not. There we go. That is significantly backed off, guys. So I got this tuned in D, and this is my Strat, and it's not an expensive Strat. Pickguard is probably from China, a single humbucker pickup. I don't know if it's from China or somebody on Reverb that just bought from China and resold. I don't know what it was. Either way, it was probably pretty cheap. I don't recall it being expensive. I don't think I've ever paid a lot of money for a pickguard. There are replacement pickguards out there for almost everything. If you own a very common guitar, like a Stratocaster or a Telecaster or an RG, depending on the year, those are not one size fits all. But man, you can find replacement pickguards for almost everything out there. And even if you can't find it, there's somebody that can make one for you. So in that case, it becomes as easy as taking the pickguard that you currently have on the guitar, tracing it on a piece of parchment or something else, and then sending it to these companies that do these. They will do things from scratch and will make the pickguard from scratch for you, which is pretty sick, if you ask me. I've only ever had that done once. I had it done with an old Fender Bullet. And the Bullet actually only ended up, it was such a cool project. It only ended up getting about a year out of it before the neck failed, and the body was cheap anyway, and bah. So if you're wanting to get a replacement pickguard put on basically anything, and you might be thinking, well, I don't need a replacement pickguard. Well, and what if you want to try just a single humbucker in the guitar you have right now? Some guitars look super sick with just a single pickup in the bridge. And if you're a metal player and you never ever use your neck pickup anyways, why not just take it out? Go with single hum, single volume. Do you ever use your tone knob? If the answer is no, well, you can simplify your setup. That's why we're going to talk about modifying guitars a little bit more today in this stream, because this particular guitar was semi-recently modified. It has been modified many times over the years. That's the great thing about Strats. You can get a billion pickguards in every color and every ply. Also, watch the ply when you buy a pickguard, a replacement pickguard. Watch the ply and the ply colors. Okay, I know a few different people that bought, like, say, a black pickguard looking to black out a guitar and then ending up with a black, white, black 3-ply and having that white strip, which to me looks absolutely sick. But for some people looking for the blacked out look, it's not for them. He ended up taking a really high quality, high strength marker to it and blacking it all the way out. But still, look for your ply. If you want all black, you got to buy that one thick, big boy thick ply of black. All right, same thing with white. Maybe a treble booster? I don't know. Let's look it up. Tom DeLonge. Equip board. Thomas DeLonge. Thomas DeLonge. That is the ugliest fucking guitar ever. Ugh. He used a Telecaster for a bit. Okay, so I knew about the JCM 900 he used in the very early days. I remember they got a bunch of accepted a bunch of credit cards for a bunch of credit cards, and they spent it all on gear. They took out some loans or something like that, and they bought like a Marshall, an Ampeg, Fender stuff, and whatever else. I knew he used the AC30 combo on Angels and Airwaves and some other stuff. That's very common, though. For a really long time, guys, it was really common for a lot of the players that were using... I really got to take that song off. That are using Mesa Boogie dual and triple Rex. Guys that... he said here that he actually paired it. So that's another thing he was doing with the Marshall, is pairing it. That's where some of that twang could come from as well. But don't think that Mesas can't twang. From the early days... Okay, so he was blending... But in this case, a lot of guys that were using the rectifiers for the clean tone, they were going after things like, they were just A-Bing and going after like a Vox AC30, or they were going after a Roland or a Fender. A la lots of guys, and then lots of the big players in the 90s used Mesa, and then for their clean tones, they went to something else. I don't see a treble booster. I see an analog flanger. I see the Invader, the Bad Monkey, Angels and Airwaves. He has a Digitech Bad Monkey. You can see Boss pedals. Okay, so he used the Super Overdrive at one point or another. I don't know in what respect, so I'm going to have to take a little bit more of a good look at that. Very interesting. It doesn't show his main signature model, his newest signature model that I hate. Wow. He played an SG? He's playing a Heritage SG. That's a real trip. There's a video here. I bet if I click this, there's a video I can go to and see him playing. No, I don't really care. That'd be a real trip to watch him playing an SG, though. It's such a not him guitar. I like this signature model a lot, actually. I think this one is really cool, the ES333. The colors are hideous, but this thing is actually super sexy. It's this one here. Go to the screen. This one here is one of the ugliest guitars I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. I hate this guitar so much. Ugh, what a dreadful looking instrument. Anyways, all right, so we didn't really find much by way of a treble booster. It doesn't really matter. I'm just it could all be also in post magic as well. There's a lot of things you can do in post magic to really get that twang to come out and stuff. So it really could be all in the post. I also don't know which microphones he uses on his cabinets live. Wow. 4 people in the chat. Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Stoke up this summer series a little bit. Get at me. Chat at me, guys. We're just hanging out today, going after some nice, solid punk rock and rock tones. And what better pairing for such a wonderful trip than this thing right here? Let's just hear what we get straight out of the block. I can't remember the song that well. The mid-focus of this amp really starts to show through, especially with something like this right here, which is the Nambrini Audio MRH. This thing is rock, just beautiful rock glory. This thing is awesome. It sounds great. I don't particularly like it with the voltage variac. I'm just going to build something from scratch here. Don't really want that giant room verb, although it is really cool when necessary. Man, that sounds solid. That sounds solid. All right. All right, I'm going to try something here. This is sounding better than it did prior. Not really the sound I'm looking for right now, though, so we're going to move along from that and go straight for kind of something I kind of was preferring anyway. There we go. Now that's bright. It's bright as the sun is. I've got normal and bright to work with here. I am going to go to the Soldano cabinet. It's still so bright that I definitely can pull that back. It's a very interesting setup here, mic-wise. I'm going to change that up a little bit, just for fun. And let's see where we're at. Now, this is a very, very mid-heavy amp, so we're going to have to be very careful with what we do with the mids here. That sounds beautiful together. If this amp, like many amps, if you're using an Invader, you really have to watch your mids. And I know that people these days are super in love with mids, but the mids with the Invader can get uncomfortable and unwanted almost if they're not controlled. And the mid section is very tough to control. So the pickup height and really catering to it. If you're expecting, like me, often I'll just dial in my usual settings with something and then realize from there, okay, this is where I need to go with this. It's not going to work. Most of the time, my ideal settings with a lot of different plugins will work with most pickups. In this case, this pickup simply does not want those mids. It's already providing all the mids. It's like that guy that brought a whole keg to a party, and you're worried about him. He's still going to take your beer. You know what I mean? This pickup is very, very much, very bold, very in your face. I forgot. That was the other thing, is this filter was on as well. So you got to watch that. I thought that was a little harsh. So you just got to watch up here in the right-hand corner, or depending on where they're located on the particular Embrini plugin you're using. Always make sure if you're using the tight or the rumble, if it's already dialed in, just kind of watch where that is, because the tight can make things awful shrill awful quickly. But it's also really nice to have when needed. One little notch up, you can already hear it. An amp like this, you're going to want to be careful how you boost it as well. I'm going to steal this back, see what we got. Now, Augie! Cat just knocked over all the Funko Pops because he's lazy. What are you doing? Can you knock over more? Good Lord, man. We talk to our animals around here like we talk to people. All right, let's go to the sword for a sec. That sounds a bit better, but ideally, when it comes to the SLO 100, it's sort of an amp that doesn't always require boosting. It's got such a tight mid-range and top end that really you just have to be careful with how you dial it in. With the Invader, however, sometimes the Invader does require a boost to kind of just tighten it up. The low end of the Invader can be a lot to control, so you really have to watch your low end. Now, if you listen to the guys, cut hair, you can feel it. If you listen to the guys in Avenged Sevenfold, that's another band that uses the Invaders, and that's like it's tough to hear in their sound. Like they disguise it pretty well. Are those guys rectifiers as well? Gosh darn it. Of course we have to go. No, darn it. Wrong one. I'll find out. So I think I'm going to keep it like this. What I really wanted to do with this guitar, eventually I will do it, but for now there's such a big cavity under here. Eventually what I'm going to do is my plan is to put a Gary Holt EMG 81 in here and do the 18 volt mod where I can fit two 18 volt batteries definitely under here. No problem. No questions asked. It will fit. So I think maybe someday, because that pickup is red, that might be the only other way I'll go with this guitar. We'll change it again someday, but for now, I think it's going to stay like this for a while because I think I finally got it to where I actually like what it's giving me. And yesterday we went over another classic pickup. It's a boomer pickup, bro. It's such a boomer pickup, the Super Distortion. People saying that the Super Distortion is a boomer pickup. I don't really see it because we figured out yesterday it's still very much useful. This is also a pickup that came out in 1981. Okay, 1980. I believe 1981 is when the Invader was released. It's been used by some boomers. You know what I mean? Like but yet that pickup is still very much recommended as one of the best pickups for metal, brother. Yet I would be careful recommending the Invader for metal, only because it really is a tough pickup to get really tight. That's why, especially when you think about the combination of an Invader and say something like a rectifier, which is a very common combination, you look at that combination, you say, geez Louise, that's like getting the two most complicated people you know and getting them into a relationship together. And then having it work out beautifully. And like, what the hell? We expected this to be horrible. What's going on? You did it as a kind of sort of a cruel joke to two people. Like, what the hell? And then, opposites attract. That's sort of like what you're doing here, or what you're doing with bringing together an Invader with a rectifier, which we're going to do right now, but we're going to jump around a little more and see what we have here. That sounds delicious already. We're using it without a boost because I don't need one right now anyway. Kick ass, guys. This sounds terrific. Absolutely terrific for what I'm needing it for. Nice. Yes, Nambrini stuff is very solid. Very strong software comes out of Nambrini. You will not feel bad. You will not feel bad for spending money there. Let me tell you that much for sure. All right. So if you're just joining us, we're just hanging out. we're hanging out using the lovely and the very wonderful RevX from Wavemind. This plugin is an absolute crusher. Superb take on the original. I absolutely love this plugin. And if you're curious, what did he add from the original? Well, a whole bunch more mics. 421, 7B. Originally, there was just a 57. He completely redid the cabinet section from scratch, leaving all the other impulse responses he had once used for this plugin into file 13 right in the trash. Completely rebuilt the room where he was shooting the IRs as well, which is, if you don't know, extraordinarily handy and extraordinarily it's going to show amazing results immediately, in fact. Yeah, it sounds delightful. Sorry, guys. It's fairly scooped, which the rectifier is by design anyways, so maybe that's why they get along so well, is because the rectifier is by design a very scooped voice amp. That's just the sound of the amp is just naturally a very scooped sound, whereas this pickup is naturally very mid-punchy, mid-focused, and very low-end punchy. That's one thing, though, you have to watch, is this particular pickup has a ton of low-end, and the rectifier has notoriously the most headroom in the low end, known to maybe the entire analog amp world. Meaning that when I say headroom, it means there's a lot of space left to go. You're not ever turning the bass knob up past 4 on a rectifier. Usually even less at times. And in this case, with this particular pickup, we're going to watch what we're doing with that as well. Every guitar sounds awesome with this amp if you set it up right, but it's a notoriously picky amp. That's why I say it's a very complex amp that is not meant for everyone. If you're the type of person that wants to set it and forget it, and you just you're not much of a tweaker, you're not much of a knob turning type of person, this is not the amp for you. Not at all. And it might be the plugin for you, though, because there are presets to find your way around, and you'll figure it out pretty quick. But in its analog form, a rectifier is a big, confusing beast for someone that's never used one before and doesn't know, does not know how to dial it in, and it can be a process. Koala Sciences. Can it run on Crisis? Can it run Crisis, though? Like the video game? You want to talk about the Crisis, the video game? I mean, we do talk about games here. I'm all in if you are. It's been a while since I played that. What's going on, Bo? Having a lot more success with the Invader than we did last time. Last time we did a stream with this guitar and this pickup. I didn't have the best of times. So I'm really excited that this time we're having a great time. Bit too much in the presence. Koala Science, is nice to see you. Welcome to the channel. My name is Tyler. Welcome to the Amp Sim Show, where we discuss all things Amp Sim and the things that surround Amp Sims in their respective universe. That meaning, in this case, guitars, pickups, strings, how to set up your guitar, all kinds of different things we talk about during streams here. We also like to talk about video games, though. And I need to know, guys, what am I playing? What should I be playing this year? This summer. I have a little bit of free time to play video games during the summer. I play a lot of MLB The Show, but I need something else. I really wish that, gosh dang, I wish that like the new Far Cry had come out during the break. Can I not wish for these amazing things? And I don't want to go back and replay the other Far Cries, because the only one that I haven't replayed at least twice already is number 3. I tend to play them twice in a cycle. It sucks, man. And in 3, when you're playing, it feels a little on the chonky, clunky side. I don't know. Even though they redid it, it still looks pretty good. Sorry, I had to. You were passionately talking about the amp. I had to ask a meme question. The Strat looks good. It looks great. Nice. Thank you. Hey, man, that's what I do here. We talk about tech. We talk about gear. We talk about, not only do we talk about the analog gear, we talk about the plugins that the analog gear is based on. We talk about the analog gear the plugins are based on, but, and I had to think about that. That didn't sound correct at all. And the relationship between the two, meaning, is it authentic? Is it realistic? And we tend to not promote anything here that isn't very much like the original, or it doesn't at least give you, let's call it 70% of that, 70% replica value, we'll call it. You got a white pickguard for your N1 guitar? What's an N1? Is that a Chapman? Or is that a Solar? What is that? Bloodborne. You recommended Bloodborne before. What is it? Tell me about Bloodborne. Give me like 3 reasons I need to play that game. It's so chonky. I need to put a tube screamer on this bad boy. And it's interesting because right now we're talking about an amp and a pickup that are, in some circles, known to be quite metallic. A lot of people will tell you that the rectifier is one of the best metal amps ever. I would disagree. I don't really like the rectifier for metal. I find it very large and bloated at times. I like it for a lot of other things, though, and that's the thing. The rectifier, I believe to be the greatest rock amp, one of the greatest rock amps of all time when it comes to modern hard rock. Modern hard rock is played on or punk, any rock that basically has come out since the rectifier was birthed has been better with a rectifier. Foo Fighters sounded terrific. They use rectifiers, and they also use Mark series amps, and there's several bands in hard rock. Hardcore, I feel, is a better use than actual metal, because hardcore doesn't really require the guitarists to be super powerfully crazy tight like you'd require in like a tech death band or gent or modern or like your deathcore, etc. Speaking of the devil, After the Burial, I'm not sure if rectifiers are going to work for that. You might make it work with a boost pedal and really setting it up to your liking, but generally, I prefer the rectifier for rock. Now, same thing goes. We're saying the same thing about the Invader. A lot of people, that's one of the best pickups ever for metal. Okay, but again, there's that large and bloated side of that can be hard to control for some people. The Invader is not known for being the tightest pickup ever. You can make it sound tighter, but you're going to have to work at it a little bit. Okay, so that's why I think for rock uses, when you can let both the rectifier and the Invader sort of fly a little bit more free and a little bit more raw, I like it a little bit more. I see. Your numero uno. I see. Yeah, I'm definitely a console guy. But I do get what Crisis is. I'm assuming. especially the way he spelled it. I'm like, he's got to be talking about the game, right? Not the Mexican thrash band. No, you know what? Well, you know which game though I've heard is terrorizing. I don't know. I'm not a console game. I'm sorry. I'm not a computer gamer. I'm a console guy, as Bo mentioned. But you know what? I'm hearing a lot. I'm seeing a lot of content from people that are pretty mad that they actually have to upgrade their computer to play the new Doom on the computer. I don't know if that's true or still true, or if they managed to figure that out. But there are a lot of people that were like apparently quite upset because the game was just not working. It was just too much to handle for even a lot of decent machines. I don't know. Is this true or am I incorrect? All right, let's move. We're going to bounce around again. We're going to Archetype Nolly X. Why not? Why wouldn't we go here? Let's go here first. I don't have a need for that one right now, but this is one where I believe this is a Marshall with either a KT88 or a 6L6 tube section. You know, I made the conscious decision to pull that pickup up, and now I'm going to put it right back because now that extra hair that I added on the top, I didn't like. Not shiny enough. A little bit up. A little bit. I don't want to worry about patches and settings. I just want to play the damn game. Me too, brother. But these days, everything is released in need of. Everything is released in need of work. It seems. It's like I bought the. Everyone's like, Bethesda's like, hey, everybody, look at this. We remastered Oblivion. Everyone's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. And I was one of those people. And then I put like 20 hours into it. 20 hours. I put like 20 hours into this game. 20 to 25 hours into this fucking game. Just to realize it was phenomenally broken to a point that I couldn't even recover my character. I had to start. I'm going to have to wait for a patch and start all over again because there are prerequisite items and not humans, but prerequisite items and NPCs that are not in, I can't find, that are not where they're supposed to be. So I can't go any further with the damn game until I can find the person or the prerequisite item that's supposed to be there. How lame is that? It's just a tease. Like, I think there should almost be like legal consequences for something like this. Like, put out a finished fucking game. You know, like it's good and well and everything, but man, don't finish it 70% and give it to us. Give us a finished fucking game. It's like a plugin. Can you imagine if a plugin developer was to put out? Well, I know one plugin developer that did do this. I'm not going to name drop anyone. I'm not going to name drop anyone, but there was actually a plugin developer that did this for 4 to 6 releases. But this would be like, can you guys imagine an amp sim developer putting out a plugin that no one could use? That like you get to like amp 3 and you go to switch to amp 4 and it just crashes? And then the developer's like, sorry, bro, you bought it. We'll get an update eventually. And you're like, I just want to use the 4th amp, man. Like, what's going on here? And then you go to use the 4th amp again, and then an update comes out. Oh, sweet, the 4th amp. Then the 4th amp is still locked because you've already made a bunch of presets. So now you have to erase all your presets and start all over again because they unlocked that 4th amp. People would riot in the streets. And for huge companies, can you imagine, like Bethesda, I would equate to being like, let's say Bethesda equals Neural DSP. I realize that some smaller developers do put out stuff that is a bit buggy. And that does happen. You're going to find bugs in brand new stuff all the time. So like but it should get covered with one update, you know, like not 7. If there's still 7 updates to make a plugin work properly, like if there's 7 or 8 updates, usually developers are adding gear, not fixing stuff, but maybe fixing minor, but major bugs. Can you imagine Neural DSP putting out, again, just the comparison of very large, popular company. Can you imagine they put out Archetype, I don't know, fucking They completely remastered the Granifier. Okay, this is again like Oblivion, but something even older, I guess. They remastered the Oblivion, or sorry, they remastered the Granifier, and you couldn't use the cabinet section. Sorry, guys, you got to use your own cabinet section for a while until we figured out this problem. People would fucking lose it, man. Their fan base would turn on them overnight, like they owed them money. You know, which they kind of would. You know, can you imagine that though? That's what I'm going to compare it to. AmpSim developers, sure. Usually there are a lot of plugins. The major developers, usually there's nearly every single bug imaginable is out of those plugins by the time they're released. For the bigger companies, sometimes there'll be a couple of like maybe small updates and small fixes, bug fixes, or added features later on and stuff like that. But generally bugs should be fixed out quickly. But can you imagine? There are a few that have. You're right, though. And there's one in particular that I'm thinking of where the first 5 or 6, we'll say, plugins that they released were broken as fuck. And you still had these people, like, tooting the horns of of this developer at the time. Like, man, this is the greatest plugin I've ever used. I don't mind that it crashes 7 times every time I try to use it because it sounds great. Can you, like, maybe get me a fix someday soon? Thank you. This sounds terrific already. I can tell just by listening to the first couple of notes. Very exciting. Nice. If there's anything you guys would like me to try with this beautiful guitar, and let me know. I'm all in. Oh, I'm slouching. Yell at me when I'm slouching, would you guys? Like, if you see me visibly slouching over like fucking, look at me, it's horrible. We got 8 people in here now. Good. The chat is moving. The missus is coming home. Trigger, man, he's eating like a horse. We've got him on this kangaroo lamb mixture now for raw food, and this cat is eating like, man, it's like his job in life. It's wonderful to see his recovery. And I talk about my cats a lot on this stream. If you don't like cats, that's okay. You can find plenty of other channels that people don't like cats. No problem. We're not sad to see you go. Have a nice day. I did get an email though. I got an email clearly from some, like, it was like a burner looking account. I don't want to like dox the email address or anything like that. If you're lurking today, if the person is lurking today, we're all laughing at you. This one guy said, love your streams, but I don't like wrestling. Your streams would be better without talking about wrestling. Cool. Well, there's a lot. Again, thank you for that, but that's not going to happen. We're going to talk about wrestling. Maybe even more now. If you don't like wrestling, I understand, because much like prior to the re-emergence of WWE on Netflix, I didn't watch it a lot since it was like 2000, 2001 or so when I stopped watching it. But man, anybody know that riff? Great. Yesterday I was searching on YouTube and found a video of you and Aurora DSP talking about GateMate. I had to use it, and it's better than the noise gate in the program I was using. Yeah, GateMate is pretty rad, man. I don't use GateMate myself in every stream. I use this right here, denoiser. I do like GateMate, and I use GateMate when I'm recording stuff, but for just streaming, this thing right here is called the Bertom denoiser, and it's so fucking awesome. Without it, it's not much happening today for noise because we're not using a lot of the juice. Wheezing the juice. Wait, let's see. Hold on. No, not really nothing happening right now for noise. That's sick. Which in this environment, it's usually quite noisy. What's up with the M convolution? Well, okay, I have this deep and excruciating hatred for listening to dry guitar in headphones. It stems way back to like literally my teens, where I just cannot stand listening to dry guitar in headphones. It drives me bananas. So what I do is I turn this on, and this is a free reverb, but you know, upgrade if you'd like. I do actually have, you're like, well, if you're using it all the time, why don't you? I actually do have the licensed version of this. I just have to activate it. Thanks, by the way, to Melda Productions. And so what I do is I like to set this on like a Studio Alpha is supposed to be like Studio A, which would be your nice size studio room. And I set it on about 6% just to give myself, I mean, if I was to set it on way up here, like 60%, we would get something more like this. I actually love that sound. I love just sitting in headphones, and I challenge all of you to do this as well. Find a room sound that you really like. I'm going to bring this back to about 30%, and then just play some notes like that hang a little bit. And close your eyes and imagine yourself just sitting in the middle of your rehearsal space. That's what I always tell people to get them into plugins a little bit more. When you're playing with headphones, toss a little room verb in the chain. Even if there's one in the plugin, I always suggest just getting your own anyways. M convolution is free, but if you're using it a lot, do buy it. It's not expensive. And it comes with all these rooms and all these boxes, chambers, churches. We could go to the churches. And let's go to... Wow. I don't even know what this means, but let's crank this up and let's see how crazy this room sounds is. This was such a trip, man. It's like, I know I'm sitting in the middle of my damn living room, but at the same time, I'm sitting here like, holy shit, that sounds awesome. That's super fun. It's something I like to do. I suggest all you guys try doing it as well. We're going to go back to, I like to go between Studio Alpha and the Viper Pit, which I'm assuming is like supposed to be, judging by the sound of it, sort of like a large, maybe a mid, this is going to sound strange, but those of you that have attended enough concerts will know what I mean by this, but a large, small venue. Does anybody know what that means when I say a larger, small venue? That means like a C-size venue that has maybe a little more oomph to the room. Okay, so I'm assuming that the Viper Pit is something like that. It sounds pretty cool though. And then if I go back to my Studio Alpha, what does that sound like all on its own? Pretty sweet, actually. Nice. It sounds pretty solid, right? So that's typically what I'm using it for. Just mostly for me. You guys probably don't even hear it much, but in the headphones, that 6% is pretty rad to stand between me and not really, and just like enjoying the sounds a little bit more. Wow, that actually held tuning really well, even though I bent the fuck out of that string. So what's going on, guys? We are getting warm here when it comes to our break. Actually, it is time for a break because I jumped on here a bit early. I think are we about an hour in, folks? We're gonna grab a break if we are. And thanks to those of you that wished me a happy birthday, by the way. I had a number of people wish me happy birthday and stuff. A few people reached out into the email. I appreciate you. Thank you so much to everybody that reached out with happy birthday. I am now an older man. I am now in my, I was told by my father, you're now, son, you're now in your late 40s. I said, yeah, fuck off. No, I didn't say that to my dad. He would have slapped me. And he's much bigger than I am, even still at 70 years old. He'd still probably ruin me. So nonetheless, he told me I am now in my late 40s. But you know what? I'm enjoying life a little bit more, I suppose. 64 minutes. Then, yeah, I know that the reverb is clipping. I know. But nonetheless, it sounds pretty rad. You get the idea. This is just something I use to moisten. Some people don't like that word. Some things I do to just moisten things up a little bit for my liking. I always feel like things sound better with just a hair of reverb on them sometimes. And that's the case here. And when I do record guitar, I do something kind of sort of similar when it comes to like a room reverb. If you've ever seen the recording of large albums, oftentimes they will just put room mics in a room. They'll put the cabinet in like a drum room, but they'll blanket it and they'll put some room mics in there still, and they'll get the room ambiance and lots of really cool things you can do with just a little bit of reverb. Holy smokes. That's, damn, I can't say what I want to say right now. An older, more bitter man? I don't know, man. Not really. Today was awesome. I sat around today fixing this guitar up and watching not old episodes, but episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. If you haven't seen Dark Side of the Ring, guys, talking about wrestling, man, that show is bananas. Just watch this story about Rob Black. And man, those are some stories. I haven't gotten around to getting the shoeless update yet. Neither have I, man. The effect, you like the effector silencer for a gate? Has no business being free. No, man, it's not. It doesn't. The only thing I use the effector silencer for now, it used to be my main gate, but now it wouldn't cover this thing covers all the noise possible. I've shown you guys in many streams how good the denoiser is at what it does. But sometimes there'll be a little noise that'll kind of bleed through in a different way, and then I'll just use the silencer to fucking just really chop that shit off, and it works out pretty nice. But yeah, that's free. You guys can go get this from Kuasa stream coming up very, very shortly, by the way. Thanks so much to, I can't remember the username at this point, but someone requested that we do a Kuasa stream that features the new Blues Breaker. And the new blues, they just did a couple of blues pedals. I think they did the blues breaker and the blues driver. I think they did both of those pedals, the Boss and the Marshall pedal. I think either way, we'll be doing that. We'll be doing that plus showcasing some of their other stuff. Also, a new secret plugin starting to enter the chat. Well, yes, indeed it is. Next Doom Tomb episode, which is going to be in the next couple of days. I'm going to use the Studio Lord. And And part of the episode, we're going to test out something that's in beta from one of the top developers that I've got the okay, as long as I don't show it. And so you guys are going to get to hear one of the new plugins from, actually, I can just say the developer. It doesn't even matter. Nembrini Audio. He wouldn't care. As long as I don't show you guys the plugin or say exactly what it is, it'll be fine. So guys, a new release from Nembrini Audio is going to be on one of the next Doom Tomb episodes. Dark stories indeed. Correct. Oh man, watch the Owen Hart 2. Hold on. I saw the Owen Hart ones. I've seen all of them, I think. I watched that one when it aired though. Like the day after. I was watching it more currently. There's a few that I sort of spiraled. I do that with shows. If I'm supposed to remember to it's sometimes I just get right into it, then I'll stop watching something for a bit, and then it just, yeah. What does attack and decay knobs do? Essentially, the attack is how fast it grabs the noise. How fast do you want it to attack the noise? The decay is how fast it's gonna if I'm using a very crude terms. If you really want to know about attack and decay in a noise gate, or really anything that involves an attack or a release or stuff like that, search bar right up here. There is somebody out there, multiple people. There's probably 100 people that explain exactly and to the scientific exact what the attack and decay knobs do. But this is set. This is not really set up to do much of anything right now. Yeah. But I would definitely go right up here and just how does a noise gate work exactly, and have somebody explain exactly how attack and decay. I know that definitely helped me, but I don't want to fuck anything up. I prefer if I can't give you like a really good solid way of relating things, then I'm just gonna be like, jump up there, look it up. I'm not telling you to go somewhere else in that case, but yeah, it is what it is. How's everybody doing today? It's a Wednesday. I lose track of the days of the week. Days of the week. I lose track of it sometimes during the summertime. Obvious reasons, I'm on holidays. It's been raining for a couple days, so I've been at the house. It's, yeah. All right, so we got here. This is sounding really, really nice. This is the Nolly plugin. And if I want, I could throw this in, throw a little bit of this in. Solid. How dare you have an opinion or like something I do not? Offended, sir. Rage quits. Old man yells at cloud. Who's got that opinion? Do I have an opinion that differs? Was that the riff from Monster? Yes, it was. You must be American, Cody. I don't think anybody outside of North America listens to Skillet. I don't even listen to Skillet. I like that song though because I work in a school, in the classroom I was working in for a while. For kids in the classroom that did exceptional things, I would give them a choice at picking a song for me, and then I would record this myself playing the song, complete with plugins and everything, and then bring it in for that Friday. And then we would all get to watch it at the end of the day, and I would pass out a little bit of candy or something. Just because, if the class had a good week. And one of the kids asked me for Skillet Monster. And I was like, I've never heard this song. But then as soon as you listen to it, you're like, man, that's a really nice rectifier sound you got there. Friend? Guy? Pal? Guy's got some weird views. I don't really get it. I wish we would. Man, gosh. Do I miss the era of when we did not know and did not give a fuck what bands thought about every current issue? Good Lord. Does anybody else miss that? I'm not trying to sound like a boomer here, but man, I really miss the days when we didn't know and didn't give a flying fuck about what our favorite bands thought about current events and world issues and various political standpoints and everything else. Man, I miss those days. I miss the days when bands could just be whoever the fuck they wanted to be off stage, and as long as they ripped on stage, nobody cared. As long as they didn't even if they killed people, like Vince Neil killed a guy. And anyways, conversation's getting very strange. No way the battery's dying already. You shush. All right. I know you were joking, but I thought maybe it was like it stemmed from something else. The only way for a band to lose fans back in the day was to do it like Strung Out. I mentioned Strung Out did to my friends, and I was acting like a bunch of assholes. So as long as you were nice to your fans in public and in like at your shows or backstage, as long as you were nice to people, nobody cared. Everybody wanted to buy your albums. But it was that as soon as like every single member of every single band on earth got on social media and the fans of those bands started to actually give a shit what those bands think about world issues and stupid crap like that. Who cares? Why does anybody care at all? The only choices I care about my favorite bands make are what guitar strings do you use? What instruments do you use? Which amps do you use? These are the choices that I care about. Oh, he switched amps? Oh my God, he switched amp brands? These are the things that musicians care about. I don't care about your political views on anything. And there are some people out there that think that musicians have this, like, I know we don't talk about politics, but let me get one little small point out. Some people out there that believe that celebrities and famous people or people with influence should use their influence to sway people when it comes to stuff like politics and worldviews and stuff. No. The only thing that influencers should be able to sway is whatever they're famous for selling. Whatever, like, for me, you guys don't give a flying fuck what I care, what I think about politically. That's one of the reasons nobody cares here. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But when it comes to amp sims, damn right, come and see us. We've got some things for you. We've got some opinions for you as well. This sounds terrific. So yeah, this is going to stay for a while. But the day that I get the A-OK from EMG on that Gary Holt, guys, this is going to be... So if there's anybody out there that's eyeing up an original red Seymour Duncan, because if you didn't know, and we did this in a stream, but Seymour Duncan changed their red from this beautiful fire engine, beautiful red wagon red that you see here, red apple red, whatever it is that you think is awesome in red, that's an awesome red right there. They changed it to now where it's like this, almost like this, it's almost burgundy. It's really strange. And I bought a pickup, I bought a JB for this particular guitar thinking I was going to make kind of a rock machine and realized that they don't make this red anymore. You have to custom order this red. So they changed their red that they've been using for years, the vibrant, powerful red that everybody knew from Seymour Duncan. They changed it to this really gross, almost brownie red, brownie purple. I don't know. It's just terrible looking, awful looking pickup. They gave me the pickup for free, which is cool. But now it's just sitting. It's a Seymour JB, and it's just sitting in a pile. Who wants to buy that color of a pickup? What is that going to match? What? It's like a plum almost. What is that going to match? You know what I mean? Who's going to buy that? Who wants that pickup? I went right to the company on it and talked to my rep over there because I have a friend that works over there, and he said, yes, indeed, we did change our red completely. I don't know what it was. Like you said, it could be a supplier thing where they just couldn't get like the pigments or whatever it is they're looking at, or the plastics or whatever it is they're cutting from. I don't know. No idea. I kind of want the red EMG 8160 set for the Explorer. Man, that does sound pretty sick, pretty sexy. Take the guitar, get on stage, play the song, shut up about what you think about geopolitics. Yes, please, and thank you. It's like wrestlers. It's like wrestlers and actors and all those people giving us giving their constant thoughts on what they think about the universe. Guys, just shut the fuck up and play the song you're here to play. You know what I mean? Just get out of here. I don't know what I want to listen to today. I don't remember putting that on there at any point. There we go. Tone alert. We might as well do it because we're right here. Evil. That right there is some Mark Series magic. What a tone. What a tone. Evil, terrific band. I am colorblind. Any color works for me if it sounds good. It's got to match for me. I'm a matchy-matcher type of a person. And I think the EMG red, I've seen various pictures of it as well. The EMG red, and that was what pissed me off about, by the way, that was the one thing that pissed me off most, is that I bought the pickup and the seller on eBay was using a picture with the original red, and the one I got was the changed red, and I lost my shit too. Like, I was very frustrated because one thing I hate, it's laziness, and that's lazy. There are a lot of eBay sellers and reverb sellers that get away with this using stock images because the product is brand new. But in this case, yeah, it was brand new, but they phenomenally changed the color of the pickup. And to where, like, the ad might as well have been completely misrepping the product. So I was really frustrated with that. Not heard Evil. Aren't they British? Are they British? Are they American? I thought they were British. And their bass player passed away. And I haven't heard anything from them since. Not heard of Evil. Red, yes, the EMG red is darker. It is, but I thought they made something a little brighter because there's a few pictures of the Gary Holt that have it in a bit more of like a fake blood splatter red. That's the interesting part, because like the red stripe on Gary Holt's ESP LTDs, that's a brighter red. So I feel like the Gary Holt red is a different red. Let's go look. Gary Holt EMG. Whoop. So you look here, these look brighter. They just look like, here, look at this guitar. Those look bright, like bright as fuck. This looks bright. Those look really bright. Really bright. So if they're that color, they'll work. That's what I'm hoping for. It's going to be like that color, because that would work in this guitar. I'd like to see that. I would love to be able to do that. And put, man, that would make me happy. We'll see. We'll see what Tommy says. But yeah, there was another set that they have. It is the KK. Is it? It's the Glen. No, it's the KK. The KK Downing. His set is darker red for sure. Yeah, but I realize that politics go along with music and stuff like that, but not. I get that there are some bands. If you're not a band, okay, that's a good point, Bo. If you're not a band that's singing politically charged lyrics or singing about, for example, if you're cattle decapitation, you're singing constantly about, like animal rights and vegan, the different things, animal cruelty, and there's constantly singing about that stuff, then yes, we might want to hear your world views on those topics. Okay, your views on those topics would be helpful to your fans, for sure. I understand. If your lyrics and your music is politically charged, then yes, people might want to hear what you have to say about politics, because that's what brought maybe what brought them to your band, maybe. Okay, but then don't get mad when all of your fans don't completely align with exactly what you do as well. I know there's a few bands out there that got kind of pissed off that hey, I remember Rage Against the Machine getting pissed off because most of their fan base was just frat boys that couldn't give a fuck about their actual causes or anything they were singing about. They thought, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me, man. I'm not going to turn my college exam in on time. And you can't make me. But you can't put your message out there and expect everyone to care. But if you grab some people, that's cool. But again, if you're a pop punk band, or if you're just a pop entertainer that's singing songs about going to the club, or songs about girls, or songs about drinking, or if you're a country artist that's singing songs about back roads and driving with your truck and fishing and drinking Bud Light and stuff, nobody gives a fuck about what you think about politics. Not a fucking soul. Just nobody. That's the same red, Gary Holt. It's the same red. Okay, well then it might work. If it's not super dark, it might work in this guitar. I'm going to try it either way. I really have this idea. I'd like to put a red EMG in this guitar and do the 18 volt mod, or in Thomas's case, Thomas wants us to try the 24 volt mod. Yeah, I mean, I listen to a band like Slick Shoes, and Slick Shoes is I listen to a few bands that are straight religious lyrics. They're not obnoxiously religious, but I just go right past it. I don't listen to many lyrics. I listen to mostly music. My brain is just wired to listen to all the music and very little of the lyrics. Very few of the lyrics, rather. I almost never listen to lyrics. All right, guys, I'm going to take a quick break. Be back in about 3 minutes. Thank you for being here with me, guys. I appreciate it. This guitar is sounding pretty cool. If there's something you want me to try, we've gone through lots of products already, but if there's something, I'm going to delete, take a few out of the chain here. If there's something in this, if there's something you'd really like for me to try this pickup or this guitar through, and I have it installed, I have no problem with doing that. Right now, I'm kind of liking the Nolly X, but give me something in the comments and tell me, who is your favorite punk rock band, or you could say guitar player? Most people don't know the name of musicians in punk rock bands. I do, but not everybody does. So I will say, who is your favorite punk rock band guitar-wise? Okay? Or who is your favorite rock band guitar-wise? And when I say guitar-wise, I mean the way they play, their tone, etc. Let's discuss some of the bands you guys want to hear about, and I'll discuss some of the ones I want to hear about as well. And we can discuss that when I get back. So let's get that chat moving. Thank you so much for being here. Hit the like and subscribe, and realize that I am here to serve you guys. Our channel, he is here to serve you guys, to make sure you guys get the best plugins for the jobs that you guys need the plugins for, and also trying to do it on a good budget. All right, guys, thanks so much. I'll be back 2 or 3. Man, this is one of the best punk rock songs ever, in my opinion, I'm about to leave you guys with. So good timing on that. Cheers, guys.
should understand, in order to make change, more than just words and ideologies are needed. You gotta be down to earth, so get it through your head. Nobody appointed you any kind of leader, and to think I once trusted you. I used to call you friend. I can forgive, but I can't forget. I won't be hurt by you again. Sick and tired of, sick and tired, sick and tired of your negativity. Sick and tired, sick and tired of, sick and tired of your contradictions.
Right. Just had to finish my high chew. Fletcher from Pennywise. Now you're talking. Fletcher from Pennywise, for me, as far as punk rock, man, you are preaching to the choir on that one. One of my favorite punk rock guitarists of all time, Jake Kiley from Strung Out. As much as the guys from Strung Out were not very nice human beings to my friends and I, still, it was one of the few bands I met that were actually huge assholes that I still listen to, because there was one guy in the band that took the time to be really nice in all of that. So yeah, Chris Hanna from Propagandhi have to be my numero uno, though, if I have to really think about it. Chris Shiflett. Excuse me. Chris Shiflett from Foo Fighters fame also cut his teeth under bands like No Use for Name and Me First and the Gimme Gimmes. So he's also on the list. He's absolutely shredding lead player as well. So that dude is super. It was super fun and a little sad. Like Dave Grohl really likes going after punk rock musicians, like Josh Freese. I know that Josh Freese is no longer in the band, which is super upsetting because, man, I felt that Josh Freese was going to be a really good fit. But it was a bummer because he had to quit Offspring, and the Offspring went and hired a guy that live looks like he's never heard the songs before and plays them with all the wrong vibe and feel. I don't like the new Offspring drummer at all. And I think the Offspring, it's funny because the Offspring are still doing their thing, man, and they're still doing it well. They've got this record deal that basically says you guys just got to make us 2 or 3 really great singles. They can be dumb, silly songs, whatever, and then the rest is up to you. You do whatever you want. And they do. And they consistently make albums that their fans like. That's a good thing. I like that band. All right, let's get back to it. Misfits. I have the craziest story. Guys, I've told this story once before, but being that he brought up Misfits, I'm going to try to tell the quick version if I can. The craziest story, maybe the craziest story I have for me, and I still think about it, and I still to this day think about this story every time I hear the bands the Misfits or Ignite. And I'll tell the story as fast as I can. My band at the time locally was opening for the Misfits and with another 2 local acts. Their standard support band for the tour wasn't with them yet. They were doing a couple pre-tour shows. One of them was in my city. We were opening, and another local band was opening. There were 3 local bands on the bill. There were some punk rock kids hanging out back of the venue all day, and they were all singing and doing stupid shit. So we were blaring music in our van in the parking lot, just hanging out before the show, having a couple of beers. It was a nice summer day. We're hanging out, just having some beers. So we put on Ignite. And we had to drown. So we put on Ignite to drown this kid out because he kept on singing the song Last Caress. And he kept on singing the same part of Last Caress over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So we had to put on music. Otherwise, one of us was going to like seriously start some shit with these kids. And they're all street punks. And they would have been a fucking headache. So we just said, okay, we're going to turn up our music and drown this kid out. So we turned on some Ignite. And then we're sitting in the van. We're just hanging out. And we hear the vocals. We hear the vocals for the song getting louder. It was very strange. Then all of a sudden, hold on a sec. Guys, hang on a sec. Sorry, guys. The cat was getting into something, and I don't need another $1,200 vet bill. I can't. I'm reasonably don't think I'd ever recover from another vet bill. Anyways, so the singer from Ignite, the band we're listening to in our van, the singer from this band emerges in our fucking band window and says, "What kind of shit are you guys listening to here?" And we're all just sitting there going, "What the fuck?" This is pre-internet. For the most part, I believe. It was like really early internet. It was the craziest thing that's ever happened. And then so it turned out that Michael Graves wasn't with the band. They had to get a quick replacement. It was Zoli from Ignite, who also filled in for an album and for a while with Pennywise, and who is no longer with Ignite, as I found out about 2 weeks ago. Never listening to that band again. I don't give a shit. The new singer is not even close. He couldn't even step in the shoes at all. In any event, that was one of the craziest things that ever happened to me personally. And I've had lots of very strange run-ins like that. And it's a pleasure for me to be able to share stories with you guys once in a while. Up until they sold Nitro Records, they were their own label. No, that's incorrect. They were never officially on Nitro Records. They could put B-sides and stuff out on Nitro, but they started Nitro after they got signed to their major label deal. Unless they went subsidy somehow and went and got to... But as far as I remembered it, they were with Epitaph, and they went from Epitaph to a major, and they went from the major... And they're still on the major today, but the money from the major... I didn't know they sold Nitro. Who did they sell Nitro to? Did they sell it to the major? That's actually kind of a weird riff to play. Man, I fucked it up again. It's not a super easy riff. It's not super hard either, but it's not super easy. Fun. I'm having a good fun time with these tones. We're going to move along to this amp here. Not really what I'm looking for tonally as far as... I'm looking for more of a rock amp, I think. This sounds pretty meaty. I'm going to turn the... Oh, I already turned the pedal off. I had no idea. That whole time I was pedalless. Who knew? Who knew? Yeah, the guys in Strung Out, man. Those guys are still to this day a huge influence on me as a musician, and that's things. It's one of the bands that I just didn't care. I was like, I don't care if they were dicks. And it wasn't just once either. It was like I booked them twice, and both times was sort of like lots of eye rolling, lots of like rock star stuff, and you're like, ugh. I used to hate it when punk rock bands would come through and I would get rock star stuff. Rock star stuff is like wearing sunglasses inside and hiding on the bus and just being very inaccessible, and just treating promoters like dirt. And that's generally treating, if you're going to treat a promoter like dirt, you're not professional. Professional bands always treat everyone with respect. Anyways, East Bay Ray. Who's East Bay Ray? Why do I know that name? Dude, that Invader looks more maroon to me. Which Invader? The one that I'm using right now? Anyways, I'm hoping everybody's having a fucking killer day. I want to do one of my guitars white with blood splatter. The red pickups would work well with that. Be very careful, though. I know a bunch of people that have tried to do blood splatter and fucked it up. There is a plethora, a plethora of ways to fuck up blood splatter. Like a plethora of ways to fuck up blood splatter. And there are real tips on how to do it really well here on YouTube, and also lots on, I'm assuming probably lots on like TikTok and Instagram and other places as well. Most of the big painters, most of the big guitar company painters, custom shop guys have their own Instagrams at this point, and you can get one guy's name is Sponge Brick. I think he is the ESP LTD custom shop painter, and man, he does lots of videos, and holy shit, this guy's talented. Seeing how it all comes together is really satisfying as well. So find some of your favorite your favorite company's painters on Instagram. Maybe not always on YouTube, but definitely on Instagram for sure. You'd go vinyl? You could do that, yeah. Sure. I'm just thinking, yeah, why not? I've got the Eddie Van Halen striping style, like in striping and piping style. His masking tape painting and stuff. I've got my disc golf cart done up like that, like my pull cart. And I get comments on it's all done in vinyl. So, yeah. All right, let's go. I want to check out the Mr. Boga, Mr. Boga. Wow, the La Boga Mr. Actor, the Mr. Boga. Mr. Boga. All right. Let's see what we got here. And again, we're going to go some of the factory. Let's go to punk rock and see what we got. Very nice. It's still hearing those little volume swells once in a while. That's a bit more gain than I would want. A bit more gain than I would want in a lot of different punk rock, but at the... It's true. It's true. I'm too old to play the guitar anymore. Yeah, I am. I'm too old to play the guitar. You're too old. No, man, my birthday was pretty rad. How's it going, Scotty? Be sure to check out Chernobyl Audio if you've never heard of the channel. I'd be surprised, but if you have not heard of the channel already, if you're not already subscribed and you're in this chat, be sure that is the first thing that you do when this chat. Well, actually, let's just do it now so you don't forget. We will wait. I'll just say here. Hold on. I'm just gonna wait while you guys do that. No, I'm just kidding. Let's do that. As Scott has much content that you'd want to check out. Also, lots of preset packs for a lot of really cool stuff. So, also, Scott is one of those people. You guys know that I hold people in very high regard that are capable of getting really good tone out of anything. Workable tone, we'll say. Not really good, but even a workable tone out of anything. We'll call them tone MacGyvers. If you don't know who MacGyver is, you're probably younger than me, and that's okay. It's a show that this guy humorously almost made, just sort of jerry-rigged and made little contraptions just out of the seat of his pants. Ridiculous shit. So I would call us tone MacGyvers because it's like I feel like you can give me anything and I can get you a reason, like the best. I will spend the time and get you the best tone possible. And some things I would say that there's very little out there that people like myself, Scott, John Simons, for example, another guy over at his awesome channel. There's a lot of people out there I hold in high regard because they can get a really workable tone out of anything. And Scott is definitely in that group. So be sure, absolutely sure, to check out his stuff. From down under. Charlie, I had no idea you were actually you were Australian. Sorry. I heard something off there for a second. MacGyver, the only guy that can build an airplane out of a Bic pen and a rubber band. You're correct. I saw a meme with him recently saying that the world has gone to shit when MacGyver can't even fix his own fucking car. And it was a picture of Richard Dean Anderson on the side of the road with a broken car. And it was just like, I laughed out loud for sure, 100%. I was just like, that's fucking great. You're right. The world is in that situation right now. I don't even think MacGyver can fix this shit right now. Man, you love those inverted power chords, man. It's just something I learned from, not literally directly from Scott Ian, but there was this Scott Ian did like this guitar video ages and ages ago where he was showing how to thicken things up. Lots of guitar players have done it over the years. I will always add a finger or more. In this case, like you go from here, and then you add the pinky. And then you add the low, low. Yeah, man. They make, especially if you're in a single guitar band, which Anthrax is not, but if you're in a single guitar band, chords like that can help you save a lot of width in your sound. Add a chorus, a little bit of chorus in your sound, maybe run a stereo rig one side of the stage and the other with a the most subtle delay of subtle delays to thicken things up, which is something that I think Fletcher from Pennywise does. He runs He's changed a lot over the years. I'll bet you at this point, I'll bet you any money. Actually, no, I'm not going to bet you any money. He feels like a guy that would go quad cortex. But for years, he had a VHT, and it was a rig that was classically half VHT Fryette, and the other half kind of has rotated. I think there was a, damn it, why speculate? Why speculate? Go to equip board. As Fletcher is of a stature that he would definitely be on here. Here he is. All right. Yeah. Half Mesa and half VHT is classically what that man has used. I've seen this amp. A rev generator, that is definitely after, that must be more recent. Where's the VHT? Seriously? You forget the one thing? The one thing he's most known for using? What? Oh, valve state. In the studio, he's used the valve state. Again, there's another band that I'm adding to the list of bands that have used the valve state in the studio. On tour, it's not really a common sight, but a lot of bands have used them in the studio as like a right to left, something to balance certain things out. And that's the reason a lot of them started to disappear used wise, because there's a lot of producer with their amp walls, and you look at all those amp walls and of expensive amps, and in those walls you'll find often now you're starting to find like cheaper amps from back in the day, like the valve state and other things starting to show up in those amp walls because people are collecting them now and just hoarding them. Interesting that there is no mention whatsoever of the VHT Pitbull that he has used for many, many years. Very interesting. How about that? That could make this another addition. You can add things and they can be approved or not approved, which is kind of cool. All right, cool. The inverted power chord is a secret weapon for heavy chunk and standard E. It's the type of sound all the double drop vagina guitarists wish they could get. Exactly. Double drop vagina. Well, the thing is, though, about the inverted power chords is that I also, when I play in B, I use them a lot when I play in B, especially when I'm using fuzz. Oh my gosh. Using it in fuzz, it just creates this, like if you start with fuzz, I'm not going to do it now for obvious reasons, but if you start in fuzz and just start like a... And then, you know, make it bigger here with one more on the pinky. And then you add fuzz to those. Boy, let me tell you, it sounds like there's a bulldozer rolling right through your living room. It's fantastic. It's great. But yeah, you're right. But I will use it in B, but in anything lower than B, I mean, B flat, I'll probably still use it. But yeah, when I'm using my my baritone and playing in F sharp, no, I just don't feel, because it turns into mud. It does. It turns into mud. And that's the thing about sounding heavy, is it's not all about the low tuning. You use E flat. I'm argue to say that yes, E can sound heavy. Very much it can. But for some reason, that half step down in the E flat or the D sharp, for some reason, that just is 100% heavier. Somehow that half step. So I would suggest going to E flat. But the thing is, a lot of bands that are playing in the F sharp and the really low double D, the double drop vagina tunings, as so called by Chernobyl Audio, those tunings a lot of times don't allow for bass accompaniment in the lower octaves. So you're also taking away the lower octave But if they don't get it, that if you use the bass to hold down that low octave and you get your guitar players to start using these inverted power chords, you can play in C and still sound. There's plenty of bands on this earth that play in B and C and even D or E flat that are absolutely, they sound gigantic and huge and heavy by using these techniques instead of just using this, I'm going to tune it lower and lower and lower. You got to have that bass octave, and you don't need, and I'm saying, a bass octave that you don't need a subwoofer to hear. It's like, yeah, some of these bass players are tuning with a string like it's like this fucking thick. Good luck finding a machine head that's going to support that. But yeah, there are bass players that are using these strings that are like these monster strings and tuning their bass down to F sharp. Sure, that's fine. Go ahead, but you're going to need a subwoofer to hear most of what that bass player is doing. Why make it so complex? Why? Inverted in B standard. Nice. C sharp for me is your sweet spot. Nice. Calling it double. I'm double D from now on. C double D. Every time someone has said the words double team together since the movie Beer Fest came out, ever since. C double team. This person fucking grinding my gears. Grinding my gears with way you park, lady. Sorry. Taking out all of my rage. Now, guys, going through. Going to be on for a little bit longer. Not a ton longer, but we've had a good time today testing out. I finally found the right height for the Invader. Finally found the right height for the Invader. And I do think the pickup has the potential to sound really, really good. But you're going to need to adjust your amp settings. You're going to need to play with the height a lot. My suggestion is to start as low as you can get it, while not being below the threshold of like your pickup rings. In this case, it's exactly level with the pick guard, and it's approaching almost down from the pick guard. Because, and my friend said, as low as you can get for these things is the best. He's just like, it's the higher you get, the closer to your strings you get with an Invader. He said the muddier and shittier it's going to sound. But if you get too far away, it'll start sounding underpowered. So it's finding that oh, I'm right there. Right there is where you need it. It's like finding one of those showers where everything is either way too hot or way too cold. Now you just find that 3 millimeters of space on that big dial, that big single moving dial, if you don't have the 2 water controls. And you're finding that little butter zone, and you're like, okay, this is great. Fantastic. Nobody bother me. I think Beer Fest I think I should do a Broken Lizard marathon. I think that should happen. I can do that. I can do that with my summer. Some of the amp sims I've used, yeah, that's poor quality though, and a poor quality amp sim will give you poor quality note articulation, poor quality response. And again, if you're using, this is where it boils down to your DI signal as well. If you've got a poorly set up guitar or you've got bad pickups, these are some other things that could potentially fuck with you as well. I use the Invader in my Junior V with my Drop A guitar, massive output, hot as hell. What do you have it set at for a height, the string height? Like when you have your string pushed down at like the 20, your whatever your top fret is. Go Bruins. I would say solid choice. I have no hate towards the Bruins whatsoever. None. I feel bad that Brad Marchand is gone. That sucks. It's weird seeing him winning a cup with another organization, then staying there. Brad Marchand is the kind of guy you really want on your team, but you kind of hate him because he plays for another team and he does things that annoy people. How Canadian am I? Well, it depends. See, inside Canada, we don't hate Americans. We don't hate American franchises because when it comes to hockey, because here's the deal. There's this thing where like a Canadian-based team hasn't won the Stanley Cup in a really long time. And that's supposed to be a chirp on Canada. But in reality, I would say the Cup spends more time in Canada than anywhere else, even when American teams win the Cup. Why is that? Well, because in the off-season, each player on the team gets to have a few days with the Cup. And then all of those players bring it back to their communities. And they'll usually go to one of the local arenas where local kids and local hockey players and sports enthusiasts can come to that little small local arena and get their picture taken with the Stanley Cup and get to touch it maybe, or, get a play. And then they get a picture with that player. And the reason that happens is because the majority of these hockey teams are Canadian. So it gets to come back to Canada. Even a lot of these American hockey teams are full of Canadian players. So even when American teams win it, Canadian communities benefit. So as long as Canadian communities continue to benefit from American wins, fantastic. Also, all of these Canadian-born hockey players that are playing in the United States, they meet American ladies. And they have kids with American ladies that end up being American kids because they don't bring them back to Canada. So they usually end up being raised American. So it's Canadian dad, American mom, and, well, dual citizenship kids. But most of these kids are growing up. And a lot of these kids are playing and becoming professional hockey players that are playing and are now American, obviously, and are considered American-born hockey players, even though they have a Canadian heritage. Very interesting. It's very interesting. That's how Canadian I am. Fake Canadian. No. A lot of the feuding we have inside Canada when it comes to hockey is actually Canadian versus Canadian team. Like if you're a Maple Leafs fan, you hate the Montreal Canadiens or the Boston Bruins. I'm not a Maple Leafs fan anymore at this point in my life. So there's not really anything that bothers me when it comes to that sort of thing. The hate we have, and if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, you hate the Calgary Flames. These are two cities in the same fucking province. You know what I mean? And the same thing with Toronto and Ottawa, two teams and two fan bases that do not like each other very much. And it's usually that when it starts getting competitive with Americans is when they play in the Olympics or they play in like the Four Nations Cups and stuff like that. Then that's when it starts to get a little bit, the gamesmanship starts to get a little high drama. But every American player out there needed a Canadian player to win a Stanley Cup. There has never been a Stanley Cup in the history of the trophy. There has never been a Stanley Cup won by a team that didn't have at least a considerable amount of Canadians on the team, if not even majority. Most of them have been majority Canadian. Now it's not so much anymore. It's more spread out. It's lots of players from all over the world now. And it's even growing. There are even players from Japan that are starting to get drafted into the NHL because they just figure out how to do everything at a high level. They just do. They use science and technology to figure out how to do everything at a high level. Everything. The Japanese they figure out a way to be good at everything. They just figure it out. But there has never been there is not one single American Stanley Cup champion on this earth that didn't need a Canadian to help him win that cup. However, there are a considerable amount of Canadian players on this earth that didn't need any Americans to win a cup. Tell me, it is what it is. It is what it is. The countries that really scare me when it comes to the country, however, the U.S. they're fantastic at hockey. They put money in. They needed, however, to get as good as remember when they sucked at hockey? Do you remember how bad the United States was at hockey for a really long time? And it wasn't until Wayne Gretzky got sent to Los Angeles that the States started taking hockey way more seriously. You can thank Canadians for that too. You can thank us for that too. And then, of course, the Mighty Ducks movies and everything. And then that's when the United States started putting big, fat money into hockey. But for a long period of time, they still kind of sucked at hockey. They were better, but they still weren't anything compared to Canada because you needed to have money to get good at hockey in the United States. It required money. In Canada, it's starting to get there too. There are a lot of players that don't get the chance to play in front of scouts because they can't afford to pay thousands of dollars on a travel team. This conversation has gone away from AmpSim, so that's okay. We talk about weird things near the end of a stream here, and so yeah, I've got a few opinions on the subject. I've had a few of these conversations before. I live in a border town in a border. I guess every province is a border, but I live in a border town. And I've gone to the States a lot to watch sports. And there's always a gamesmanship because the city that I go to watch sports the most is Minneapolis. And so there are a lot of Canadians from all various areas that are close to Minneapolis that go to see the Blue Jays and the Maple Leafs in Minneapolis. And when you're there, there are a lot of Canadians, tons of Canadians there, and it becomes like this nice, fun gamesmanship. There are no scraps in the stands. Because sometimes maybe you'll get a little sore with somebody, but I never saw a scrap. It was always just fun gamesmanship. It was insanely expensive, but whereas up here, all we need to do to try hockey, dude, is to step outside in the wintertime. We just need to step outside in the wintertime with our skates, a stick, and some gloves and find the nearest ice rink. That's it. And even to play indoor hockey around here has been something that has been very affordable. To play at certain levels here, to play the recreational levels in Canada, you don't need a lot of money. It's not very expensive. There are phenomenal equipment trading programs to make sure kids get what they need sizing wise. You don't have to buy brand new. It's just there's lots of trading that happens with stuff. It's really great for that, skates especially. And to play in recreational leagues, it's not that expensive. But to get to the NHL, you need to play what's called AAA in Canada. And to play AAA is very expensive. That's your best way to get to the NHL is playing AAA. You can do it playing AA. It's happened more than once, but traditionally, most of the time, the junior hockey is drafting from AAA is usually the way it goes. We'll see how that changes. I'm from Wisconsin, so you can appreciate. Yeah, so Wisconsin is a very similar vibe. You guys actually, it's not too far off from where I live. In Wisconsin. I've been to Somerset several times. Somerset, Wisconsin. The liquor mart there is fantastic. It's a liquor mall, brother. It's literally the size of a Walmart, and it's all booze. It's insane. The most ridiculous thing I've ever seen as far as liquor goes. Even though it's all full of mostly weak booze, just kidding, guys. All right, so what did we do today? We checked out this here, Seymour Duncan Invader. I got this years ago. It's been in and out of this guitar. I think eventually it'll leave this guitar again when I eventually get to putting a red EMG in here, but I think we're fine for a while. I really like this pickup when it's set up right, and when I have when I really come to terms with the fact that I have to set the amp up in a way that I wouldn't normally set it up. That's the thing. You really have to get outside your comfort zone, start with your usual settings, and then you're going to have to flex because this bad boy right here is not transparent. It makes the rules. It's like a pickup version of the HM2. I'm not saying it distorts and everything like that. I'm just saying it's very bold and it very much takes over the sound, and you're going to be working around it a little bit. So with all of those things in mind, the Seymour Duncan Invader can be used in multiple different tunings. It can be used for tighter tones. It can be used for more bloated, more raw, kind of filthier rock tones. It's an ideal pickup, as I'm told, for a single guitarist band looking for some more size in the tone. Don't know if that's true or not, but I mean, you guys be the judge. EMG, so you're going deaf. See, you're old. No, it's because I like to have, because I have a thing. I have the ability to get stuff from EMG, and occasionally I like just having a mixture of sounds, because all the guitars I have here are not necessarily for me. These are all for creating content. So it's nice to have a mixture of things. The day you see me bring Fishman humbuckers back in here, you know something is wrong. As far as EMGs go, I think if you're looking for that very specific EMG sound, the EMG 81 is the only way to get that specific sound. It's not by any means my favorite pickup on the planet, but when it comes to active pickups, the EMG 81, you could put that thing in fucking anything. I could take it, put it in this keyboard, put a bridge and a little and a nut somehow on this keyboard right here, and I could get some reasonably decent guitar tones out of it. You can put an EMG 81 in anything and it'll sound decent. So that's the saving grace to an EMG. Not my favorite pickups by any means, but when it comes to active, EMG are definitely way above Fishman. And then when it comes to bass pickups, come on, Scott, you can't tell me that in a bass, EMG is not the way to go for metal bass players. You can't tell me that. EMG is the way to go for metal bass players. There is no other way to go for metal bass players. Mark Studios, starting some shit up in here. I'm gonna fight you. In any event, guys, thank you so much for being here. It's been a lot of fun today. It's always a lot of fun to get together with you guys. Tomorrow is Thursday. I'm not sure I'll be here tomorrow. Friday, you guys know every Friday it's a lock. I will be here at around 4:30 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. I have no idea what I'm doing on Friday. No idea. Otherwise, I'd be helping to I'd be promoting something right now or saying we're going to do this or that. No, I'm not. I have no idea what we're going to do in the next episode. So it'll be kind of fun that way. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Maybe something heavy, maybe not. Somebody said we should do new metal. I know I promised a Doom Tomb, so that Iton Guitarra is going to get mad if we don't do a Doom Tomb soon with the Lord. So maybe that's coming next with the secret amp. So that's it. That's it. Friday will be a Doom Tomb. So drop in to hear some filthy sounds. We're listening to some filthy things. We're going to do some filthy, meaty, fuzzy, sausagey type sounds. Scott will definitely not want to be there. I don't think Scott is at all into Doom. Although, you know what, Scott? I got to say, brother, with your talent at production, I think you would produce a mean Doom album. An absolutely mean and nasty sounding fucking Doom album. When I say stoner Doom, though, like Monolord style Doom, I think you would make a really nasty sounding Doom album. Have you tried the Doomagorgon yet from Audiority? I think you maybe have, hey? Cheers, buddy. I love talking shit and having fun. Yeah, you know what? We love having you here, Scott. Scott, you're a great human being. And you know what, Scott? Scott's been through a lot of shit in the last bunch of years. And it's amazing to see his success and where he's things he's doing these days. So, Scott, please keep coming back to see us and talking shit and going through. Scott, I will ask before we go, have you tried the Carnivore IRs yet? I'm assuming you have. And did you like them? Because I trust you on how things sound. Are they awesome? Because I know that I believe they're sitting in my email account right now, and I'm really excited about them. Can you give me some spoilers? Give me a spoiler! I need a spoiler right now. I'll wait. I know the chat's behind. In any event, drink Wisconsinably. It's not a meme, it's advice. People have put EMGs in literal shovels, and don't forget a hockey stick. There's a guy with a goalie stick that did an After the Burial song. Cole sent them to me before they were released, and they are as awesome as you think they are. Awesome. Fuck yeah. That's what we're doing tomorrow, guys. So there is a stream tomorrow. Just so you know, we're going to do a stream tomorrow. Tomorrow we are going to take premium amp sims and ram them through the Carnivore IRs. Very exciting. I cannot fucking wait for this. That's going to be tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, around between 4:30 Eastern time, PM, of course. I will be here. I'm going to see maybe if Cole wants to show up. He's a very busy guy, and I don't assume that he's going to show up, that he's going to have the time to drop in. But if he has time to drop in, I will see if he does indeed have a few minutes to drop in and maybe answer a few questions on the speaker itself. If not, that's okay, because we're going to be able to chat on it. I'm going to get Eddie on the research for this stuff right now to get the information. Also got a new SansAmp plugin from Audio Punks, but I'll be damned if I can figure out how to use it. I'm going to have to send it to Bo, I think, on this one, because I'll be damned if I figure out how to use it. All right, guys, thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe as always. Please also follow Chernobyl Audio as if he does. I'm talking as if his channel is not like 9 million times bigger than ours, but still, if you have not already followed Scott and his channel, please do check it out. And if you're wanting to make mixes sound good, this guy's going to show you a million different ways to do that. I don't know about a million, that's exaggeration, but many, many different ways that Scott's going to show you. Not just a lot of his stuff it's also geared for metal. But these production techniques you're going to be able to use for just about, there are many of his production techniques you're going to be able to use for anything. And they are universal production techniques that everybody should know. And Scott's got a really good way of showing things that have a phenomenal workflow added to the nuance of things. So please do make sure you go and check out his channel. Cheers, everybody. I will see you guys next time. My challenge for you today is just to go and check out maybe go download the trial for Laboga Mr. Hector Suite and tell us what you think next time out. Cheers, everybody. I'll see you next time.
Name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say, I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry is so prestigious. Wave your hands from side to side and say, oh, I believe in Joe Hendry. In Joe Hendry.